good. All right. So, guys, enough housekeeping. Let's get to the fun stuff. Let's talk about Tucker Carlson getting fired from Fox News. Or I guess technically he's not fired because according to reports that we have going on around here, Tucker Carlson hasn't been let out of his contract. So he's not technically fired. He's just no longer on the air. They basically took his show off. And a lot of conspiracy theories are floating around about what the logic behind this decision. It's been all over social media today. And just real quick to remind everyone that we have links in the description of all the articles that we're going through on this stuff. And I want to start with Mr. Reagan because, he's tapped into, the Fox crowd and stuff like that. But Chris, what can you tell us about what you've heard about this big shakeup over at Fox News?
Well, somebody said that my microphone's a little low, so I'm trying to fix that. So
you're
let me, you guys think I'm fine. Okay, that's good. Good enough for me. Look, everything that I've heard about Tucker Carlson is essentially that the Murdocks who run Fox News have had a problem with Tucker for a long time. They're, I guess, like never Trumpers. They don't like Donald Trump. Tucker Carlson has always... I don't know what Carlson's personal feelings on Trump are, but he's always been more or less a defender of Trump. He believed that, the 2020 election was probably fraudulent. He believes that, January 6th was not an insurrection. He's just willing to at least explore these ideas that the Murdochs don't really want explored on Fox News. And the rumor has always been, in fact, I was going to do a video about this a long time ago, but I never got around to it because it was a very complicated video to do, and it just took a lot of time to research. But a lot of the executives at Fox are leftists. The Murdochs are definitely more left than the Fox audience. And the rumor is that they've been wanting to shift Fox left for a long time. I don't know why they would want to do that. Fox is obviously the most successful of the cable news networks, but that's always been their idea. And they've essentially said that Tucker got too big for Fox, or at least he believed he was too big for Fox, and they were not able to control him in any way, right? He basically was able to do whatever he wanted, and he was too big to fail, essentially. He was too big to fire. Fox has a weird history of losing or getting rid of their top people when they are the most popular. They did this with O'Reilly. They did this with Megyn Kelly. They did this with Glenn Beck. And now they're doing it with Tucker Carlson. And they've always really been able to bounce back because they've always had somebody else to fill that, spot of, the main person. The main person at Fox everybody watches. But with Tucker, I don't know if they're going to be able to bounce back so easily. Tucker is unfathomably successful, unfathomably popular. And the only people that are continuing to watch Fox right now that I'm aware of are, over 60. And, one more COVID strike and their entire viewer base is, done. Yep. So I don't know. I don't know. That was a joke about old people dying from COVID. Nobody thought that was funny at all. Okay. Jeez, you guys. Come on.
I hate you.
Sympathy laugh, at least. Come on.
Please clap.
No.
Please clap.
That was a Jeb Bush reference. Very good, Matt. So look, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. When a company gets bigger, this is kind of true of your own personal expenses. If you think about it, as you get wealthier, you spend more money, right? So imagine if you lose a job at McDonald's, it's not that big of a deal, right? Like you could probably get on welfare and make more money. But if you have a job making whatever it is, $500,000 a year, and you lose that job and you go to a job that makes, $100,000 a year, you're still making an okay income. But if your expenses are $200,000 a year, you are effed, right? So I don't know what Fox's expenses are or whatever, but they were so much bigger than CNN and MSNBC. I don't know if they can downsize quickly enough to deal with this. I'm sure they can, but they're taking a real big hit here because I'm sure they pay their host and stuff way more than they should. Because they were just so big before. Now they're losing a huge amount of their audience. I don't know how they're going to deal with it. It's going to be rough. Anyway, that's my take.
Yeah, real quick, can we call up this super chat from Master Nerd Boy? Astronaut Boy, $5. This whole Fox News rubbish is why I don't miss cable or satellite TV.
Yep.
I'd much rather watch all of you guys' different shows than Fox News or the like. So Disparu, from an entertainment standpoint, what's really interesting about this is that basically Tucker Carlson, he was Fox News' biggest ratings draw, and he was actually pulling a lot of the same crowd that like Timcast IRL and Steven Crowder and people like that to his show. And when he released his first video after this news broke, it cost him nothing to produce. Like it was like from his cell phone, and it got 45 million views, which is like, I think his show typically brought in like 3.8 million views, and he was like number one. But like his little Twitter video got like 45 million views. So obviously he's one of the biggest draws, and the big difference here between like when Megyn Kelly left or Bill O'Reilly was forced out or what have you, Glenn Beck leaving, is that first of all, when those guys left, everyone stayed because they were loyal to the platform. But with Tucker, it seems like the audience is loyal to him, because after he left, like that 8 p.m. slot dropped to like, less than 1 million views per episode. And it just seems like he was also kind of cut off in his prime. So like people are like, wait, we still like Tucker. We still, Bill O'Reilly was at Fox for like something like 30 years or something like that. Don't check me on that. I'm probably wrong, but he was there for a long time. So what's your take on this as someone who is across the pond? And you have Sky News, which is a Murdoch thing, but beyond that, like you guys probably don't.
The less said about UK
really
Sky News, the better.
No.
Australian Sky News seems a lot better than ours. Like,
there's two Sky Newses. Don't get them confused. Yeah.
It's interesting because obviously I have no dog in the fight when it comes to it. I only see clips like on Twitter and stuff passed around. Never really watched the guy, but the reaction I think tells you a lot about the person, because even when it comes to like television presenting, I stopped watching television a long, like many years ago at this point, and got in watching YouTube and Twitch. And then you go back and you watch mainstream TV presenters, like none of these people have any talent. Like you could get the average guy off YouTube, they would have a better personality and present it better than the people which are getting paid by the major shows. And I think you find a lot of these people were placed there because, they knew the right people or they had the right degrees or just got promoted within the company, rather than actually because they could attract that audience on their own. Whereas from the reaction to Tucker, it seems like he has enough of a personality that he would build his own audience, and because they'd follow him, I think that matters. You're still going to have a load of people. I don't know whether it's platform loyalty or just because I watch the television and it's on, and it's like a habit. But the ability to pull an audience with you is big. That's probably why you can, if he sets up somewhere else, they'll follow with him. The interesting thing, though, is you can get into the numbers about how they're going to lose money. But over here, Rupert Murdoch, one of his newspapers got into, it was like a phone hacking scandal and stuff. He just closed it down. Like, he didn't even try and mess with anything. Like, this is causing drama. I don't like it. Get rid of it. And that paper sold 2.6 million copies a week, and he just instantly closed it. So I don't think he's a guy that really... If something's losing money, it's not necessarily the biggest thing to him, because he owns so much. And he'll have different goals than just pure bottom line. So I get the feeling, especially from how that paper went, that this is causing drama. I need to get rid of it. Could be the same with Tucker. It's like, if he wanted to talk about something that nobody else wanted to talk about, it was causing drama. If he started arguing with things, it could just got to a point where it's like, we'll get rid of you. We'll leave you in your contract. You can't say anything else, because if they close the contract, they'd have to pay him out anyway. So there's no reason for them to. And if it keeps him silent, then there might be court drama coming up, which would make some interesting viewing.
Hey guys, if you could do me a quick favor, if you like this episode and it tickles your fancy, or any other episode that we've done in the past, share it on social media and tag us in that post so that we know you're talking about us, and we will immediately jump onto that app and we will respond to your tag, and we can talk about what you like about the episode and possibly talk about something that we might want to cover in the future. And we would love to bring you in our community. We have a wonderful Discord app as well. There's a bunch of people in there that just love chatting with us. And we'd love to hear from you. So if you like this podcast, tag us in that post and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you guys so much. Back to the podcast.
Yeah, the big conspiracy theory is basically they took him off now, and they're going to keep him under his multi-year contract and just keep him off the air until after the presidential election, because they don't want him out there causing waves. But Brian from the Popcast, Megyn Kelly, she's now like one of the biggest independent podcasters on the planet. She left Fox a while back and made the jump over to network TV, where didn't really work out very well for her. But now that she's doing her own thing, I believe Bill O'Reilly's doing the same thing. They are making more money and they are way more successful, and they have a much more fervent fan base than they ever had when they were on Fox News. And everyone's just expecting Tucker Carlson to make the leap to Rumble or start his own thing, and that's going to basically, he's going to be the next Joe Rogan essentially in terms of like podcasting and YouTubing and stuff like that. So what's your take on this and the conspiracy theory that they're trying to silence Tucker before the 2024 election?
Well,
who was that to? Was that to me?
That was to Brian.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I do believe that there is some truth to the conspiracy theory, because the only time a business will willingly lose money is when it supports their agenda in some way, where they believe that it's worth the loss of money. And here's the deal: you don't bench your quarterback, every at the start of the season. If you have 10 employees and one of your employees makes 50% of your income, you don't fire that guy. You figure out how to make him happy. They willingly lost half of their viewership because they didn't like the guy. So that tells me that there has to be an agenda there. I don't know what that agenda is, but the only time a company will willingly lose money is when it promotes their agenda. Now, if he goes to another platform, great. More than likely, I don't think he's going to be going to one of these independent platforms. He'll probably end up on, what is that, News One or whatever. There's other networks out there that maybe that's good. Maybe they'll get more popular because of that, and there'll be more competition in the media space. Because right now you have Fox News and CNN pretty much. I mean, you have others, but those are the big ones, right? And Fox really feels like controlled opposition at this point. And it's just always been sort of dull. So I think it's a good thing that Tucker Carlson's going to go somewhere else. Maybe that means either there's another player that will get exposure they need, or maybe the independent space, like our space, will get more exposure too. So either way, it's a win-win for users, I think.
All right, Matt Vader 74. Yeah. So one of the things that hasn't been talked about enough with the Tucker Carlson thing is the fact that Don Lemon also got fired. What do you think about that?
It's kind of weird that he kind of is taking a backseat to all this, right? I mean, it's very strange, but we all kind of knew Don Lemon was getting fired, I think, a while ago. CNN has kind of been cleaning house here for
one of the jokes is that Tucker beat Don Lemon in the ratings yet again when they got fired.
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of funny. They couldn't even give Don Lemon his little pity party when he got canned over there at CNN. That's actually very interesting. But aside from what everybody said, personally, I'm a disparu. I'm to the point now where I just don't watch the big network television news channels anymore. I don't have any interest in these people. Every single one of these people have an agenda on the right, on the left, in the middle, whatever. And I don't care. I'm not interested in anything most of these people have to say. I do like Greg Gutfeld. I think Greg is probably the next one that's going to get chopped over there because, apparently Fox News doesn't like people with any personality. So Greg is going to probably get chopped, and he's going to bring Kat with him, and he's going to bring who's the big wrestler dude? I really like him. Been watching him for years. I can't think of his name though.
Well, Gutfeld is actually beating all the other late night talk shows in ratings.
Yeah, Gutfeld's great, and the thing with these guys is they could all do exceedingly well without their network ties that they have. I think Gutfeld is to the point now where he could go out there and do what Crowder does or whoever, anybody else, and just destroy things. The whole thing with Tucker, though, I didn't realize that. I thought they just fired him. This stuff with him, they're keeping him under contract to keep him quiet. That's dirty. That is a dirty move because they know he has influence. They know he has a massive audience. Tucker could go out there when he's not under contract and do any of these platforms that we all have fun with, and just take any of them to the next level. He could go out there and be the next Rush, in my opinion. You know what I mean? He could do his own thing and just probably rule the world in some aspects. He's bigger than Fox, I think. And, he was big when he came to Fox, as far as I'm concerned. I've been watching Tucker since he was on, what was it, Crossfire way back when on CNN. That was a fun show. I liked him back then, and I'm kind of perplexed that they got rid of him, but they're trying to keep him quiet. And and if they try to keep him quiet through this next presidential cycle over the next 18 months, that's not good. That's them trying to silence somebody with a big voice. That's almost tantamount to, I mean, it's not, but it's election tampering in a way.
It's like that, yeah.
It's influence tampering. That's a wild thing to me, because
isn't that what they already? I mean, most news channels already do.
Yeah, and that's why I don't watch the news channels. Right. The only thing I watch the networks for anymore is the occasional NFL football game and hockey. That's it. That's the only thing I watch on TV anymore. Everything else is almost entirely streaming or on one of these YouTube or Rumble or something now. So yeah, it's crazy.
I prefer to watch the scrambled TV from the 80s, where I have to,
or porn. I like to watch porn.
It's like porn, but it's scrambled.
Yeah,
I still get that effect where I'm like, wait, is that a boob?
Yeah,
maybe it's
the leg. The people our age, the naked is much more enticing when it's scrambled through the UHF waves.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's nostalgic. Yeah.
Boy, it's a nipple.
Joker Voice pointed out that Tyrus Magnus is the former WWE wrestler and now NWA World Champ.
The Funk Master.
Mr. Reagan, you want to take us out of this segment?
Yeah, people in the chat are talking about what's his name. Who's having who's that YouTuber who's having the trouble now with his wife and everything?
Crowder.
Yeah, Steven Crowder. People have been talking about Crowder here, and I actually spoke with somebody the other day who worked for Crowder, and the rumor is, I was like, was he cheating on his wife or something? What's going on with that? And they were like, yeah, with dudes. And they didn't have firsthand evidence of this, so they weren't 100% convinced of it, but that was the rumor at Crowder's company, that he was screwing around with dudes. And I happen to have actual knowledge of another conservative Christian YouTuber who messes around with dudes. And I was sitting there and I was thinking about that. I was talking to a friend of mine, like, what is up with that? Why would a conservative Christian, personality, somebody on YouTube, somebody who's successful, be out messing around with dudes secretly? And I got to thinking about it, and I was like, you know what it probably is? It's probably exactly what Matt Vader's been doing, looking at too much porn. And because I think maybe if you see enough dicks, maybe it gets to critical mass, right?
Dick mass? Yeah.
Right, and you become desensitized maybe, right? And then my buddy was like, I don't think that would work on me, but I don't want to test that theory. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, yeah, you know why? Because you know what that test is? That test is watching thousands of hours of dick videos.
Can we mute him?
No, you can't, because this is a brilliant observation. The test is you have to look at thousands of hours of dick videos and see if you turn gay, right? And I was like, yeah, I don't want to take that test either. And then it occurred to me, maybe that's the test.
Well,
the
Brian,
test
is that true?
The test is actually whether or not he's disappeared. The test is whether or not you're willing to take the test. That's the real test.
Brian, is that true? If you watch thousands of hours of dicks, you turn gay?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Just
now the test is whether you're willing to take the test. That's the test.
Technically, it's bi. It's bi, not gay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like Schrodinger's science. Like, you don't actually have to do anything. You don't know until you look. And the moment you look, you already know the answer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Disparu gets it. Hey, by the way, how do you pronounce that? Disparu or Disparu?
Well, this is the thing. I say disparu. I've always said that, but it's a French word, so I don't know if I'm pronouncing my own name correctly. But at this point, I no longer care.
I'll say disparu for your for your sake. Yeah.
Yeah, Disparu in the chat. Welcome to the Dick stream. That is.
Yeah,
really glad
it's
we
not
could have
the-
you here.
Sorry,
It's not
I did
exactly
that.
the segue I expected from a news
Jesus.
topic. But there we go. Can I round off this thing? It's like, okay, where's this one gonna go?
Never give him the last word again.
Okay.
Never.
No.
Well, in that line, I do think it's interesting when it comes to like I haven't watched news I haven't watched TV, but especially the news on TV in probably decades at this point. But I think I would much prefer to get news from the internet, where you've got thousands of people that can all fact check it in real time directly underneath it. than just
Exactly.
have one person's opinion.
Yes.
And so I think that keeps people a lot more honest than you could ever get in a news format.
Hey guys, if you like this podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and comment below on your favorite video as well. That goes a long way with helping us boost our channel and get out there in front of more people. And it lets YouTube know that we're doing something right. And if you want to catch us live, we go live 2 times a week, once on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time and on Tuesdays at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. So join us there in the chat. We will see you on the live stream. Stay salty.